Hey everyone, welcome back to Coffs Historical Cemetery. Today we're going to look at Joseph Samuel Anderson. He was born in 1891 at Berry on the south coast of New South Wales, and he was the third surviving child of Sam and Alice Anderson, who we started this series off with. Joe moved to Bonville around 1910, where he selected farming land along with his father and his brothers. Joe and Helen, who was known as Nellie, were married at Bonville near Coffs Harbour on the 22nd of December 1919. Nellie was the daughter of Susan Muggleton and William Wheeler. Joe and Nellie lived at Bonville and Dairy Farm before moving into Coffs Harbour to live. Their first son Thomas was born and passed away in February 1921, and they went on to have 9 more children between 1921 and 1940. Alice, Colin, Gladys, Lorna, John, Stuart, Valma, Bruce and Arthur. They were farming at the time of the Depression in the 1930s, and this is when Joe joined the then government railways as a sick and accident relief fettler. He stayed in that position for 23 of the 27 years that he worked for the railways. Tragically, Joe and Nellie were to lose their 2 youngest children. Bruce passed at 18 months of age from pneumonia, and Arthur passed away aged 1, although no cause of death is listed. Joe retired in 1951, and he was presented with the gift of 2 smoking pipes. Most of his time in the railways was spent in the South Grafton Division, and he was stationed at Coffs Harbour. Shortly before retiring, though, Joe and Nellie divorced in October 1949. After leaving Joe, Helen moved to Lismore and then on to Brisbane. Joe moved to Glenreagh. He did casual work in Dunn's sawmill for several years, and he spent most of his later years in Glenreagh and could often be found at the Golden Dog. After being diagnosed with cancer, Joe moved into Coffs Harbour to live with his son John. He passed away in December 1969 in Coffs Harbour Hospital from throat cancer when he was 78 years old. At the time of his passing, Joe left behind 7 surviving children and 22 grandchildren. Joe is buried in the Presbyterian section of the Coffs Historical Cemetery, not far from his parents and at least 4 of his siblings.